Right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So, a bit of breaking news. Enoch Burke is to remain in prison because of contempt of court. And I'm going to share an article to the screen here. It's just a quick one for you today. If you don't know what's going on, if you don't know who Enoch Burke is, Enoch Burke is the guy, the teacher that refused to feed into the delusions of a pupil, and because of that, he was suspended from the school, and he kept going back in protest to the school, saying, "Look, I'm suspended, but this is my place of work, and I am entitled to work here. You should. This is a wrongful suspension." And he kept going back and back and back, and to the point where they threw him in prison. And he's now in prison, and he's not going with any. He's not abiding by the law. Well, when I say not abiding by the law, he's not, in his opinion, he's not abiding by the tyrannical law, the wrongful attitude towards him. Some might agree, some might disagree. The way I feel about this whole situation, just before we get into this here, is that, Enoch, think about this, right? We've came to a stage now, regardless of beliefs, regardless if you're going to say, "Oh, well, I disagree with all the Christian stuff." Okay, well, think about it this way, right? We're living in an era now where children basically own the teachers. And that it's a good thing and a bad thing, because then you don't have abuse anymore. Because no, back in the day there was a lot of abuse, and I disagree with that, with what happened back to kids back in the day, especially with teachers, just very heavy-handed, forceful. That stuff's really bad. But we've got to a point now where a child can come into a classroom. They can say to the teacher, "I'm a cat." If the teacher says, "Catch a grip of yourself," this is a school, not a pound for animals. There's a good chance that that teacher is going to be suspended, and that's wrong. The pendulum is swaying too far the other way. We need to find a balance where teachers still have control of the classroom, and they're not feeding into whack job ideologies that's being taught to kids by loony bins and whack job parents. And we also have to respect other people for who they are. Like, people need to be comfortable enough to come out as gay or whatever. If that's who they are, that's who they are. But that shouldn't overtake the classroom, where they're there to learn the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, history, mathematics, science, all the rest. Even as a biology teacher, you can't teach basic biology these days, or you might find yourself in the gulag. So, on all fronts, it's being attacked. Science teachers can't even teach science. What you've got here with Enoch Burke, what I do believe, it's one person's belief system favored over another. So the radical whack job far left ideology that's crept into the alphabet people ideology that's crept into the schools is promoted over anything else. So that ideology needs to be protected. They're to protect the characteristics. But if anybody else has a belief system, that isn't to be respected. And it's 100% an agenda. Now, a lot of people, which is actually very strange, a lot of people disagree with Enoch on the niceness side of things. They're like, "Well, we actually think he's a menace. We think he's a pest." That's a lot of the comments I get, where I actually agree with Enoch. Now, I agree with him on the basis, not on a religious basis, right? Even though I'm religious myself, but it's more to do with the fact that teachers need to have control of the classroom. And if they see whack job ideologies creeping in from whack job parents or whack job clubs, or maybe the school itself is promoting a whack job ideology, then if a teacher has faith, or a teacher has a certain belief system, and I'm speaking to teachers out there that are atheists, and they say, "Look, we can only imagine what it would be like if there was if you had a belief system like a faith in God. It would be terrible. You wouldn't be able to have that faith, or you have to eradicate that faith just to teach." And that's something that I disagree with. We don't allow radical religious ideologies. You can be taught religion, but it's not radical religious ideology. So why would you allow a far left radical ideology to swarm the students, and then project that onto the teachers, and put teachers in a position? Teachers should not be put in this position. I know there's teachers out there that promote this. They are whack jobs. And what I would say to you is, if your child is around one of these teachers, please remove them from the school ASAP. Teacher Enoch Burke to remain in prison for contempt of court. Secondary school teacher Enoch Burke is to remain in prison for contempt of court after refusing to engage with an offer from a high court judge to release him for Easter. Mr. Burke was jailed for a second time last September for refusing to give an undertaking to abide by a high court order to stay away from the school where he worked. He has spent just over 300 days in prison for contempt of court, a situation which the judge said there was no precedent for. However, today's hearing ended with Mr. Burke being removed from the courtroom by prison officers at the direction of the judge and his return to Mountjoy Prison. Mr. Burke's mother, Martina, and his sister, Amy, were also ordered to leave the courtroom during the hearing. His brother, Isaac, was removed from the courtroom twice by Gardaí. Mr. Justice Mark Sanfey said he had intended to release Enoch Burke from prison and give him the 2-week holidays at Easter to reflect and find a better way or a different strategy. So we don't really need to actually hear anymore. So basically what happened is he's went in there, the judge has given him an order, a way out plan, and he says, look, I'll give you this and I'll give you the 2-week break and you can come up with a different strategy. And Enoch just went, nope. He spoke over him, didn't let him answer any questions, and he says, nope, not doing it. This is the only way. If you don't respect my faith, if you don't respect my belief system, and this is one-sided, and you don't see this as an unfair suspension, and if you don't see this as me protesting that it was an unfair dismissal, then there's no other way. Lock me up for 100 years. Lock me up until I die, because this is where I stand on things. And there's something to be said about this. It's very, very inspirational, very, very motivational. You know, the fact that this is happening in Western civilization, we're locking a man up because he refused to. He basically refused to adhere to the radical whack job ideologies that have seeped into Western society and have corrupted our schools. And he stood his ground and he said, no, this is an unfair suspension. I'm not diving into the delusions of children. That's their parents' job. If they want to condone that, that's up to them. But this is my classroom and we don't do this here. And I have to stand by that. I respect that. That's authority. I know people are going to say, well, that's hypocritical because Enoch's not respecting authority. Well, he's got every right to, because they're persecuting against him because of this. People are going to say, well, why does he not just go with what they're saying? Just do what he needs to do to get out of prison. Whenever you've got a reason to fight for something, prison doesn't fear you. Being locked up, death, all those things, you're not afraid of that. And he's not just fighting for his job. I do believe he's fighting for the future of Ireland and fighting for the future of the system and the way the system should be. Teachers should not be put in this position ever. A teacher should say, catch a grip of yourself. We're not going to do this in this classroom. I'm not going to adhere to any of that. That's on your own time. Here we're learning history, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and all the rest, science. So we're not going to do that. And that should be respected. Don't bring it into this classroom. And that should be respected 100%. I know we're living in a world full of lots of anarchists. A lot of people are going to disagree with me in this, and that's okay. That's good. I'm not here to be agreed with, but that's how I feel about things. Teachers need to be respected. And what I would say is, in regards to, the modern day climate, we need this. It's getting wackier by the day, folks. But that is a bit of an update on Enoch Burke. He's not going to budge. I'm going to say it. He will not budge. He will happily sit in prison for the next till he dies, and he will do that. And that's what you're going to see here. And this is a big story, folks. Big story, because I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. He's got morals. He's got a backbone. He's, regardless of how you feel about him, he's standing up to the system. And fair play to him. I support him 100%, and he needs to be released. And as I said, if it was me, I would release him. I'd put him straight back into his job, and I would tell the teachers, the headmasters, the students, leave your ideologies at the door, including you, Enoch, including you. Unless it's religious class, we're not speaking about it. Here, we're talking about the subject that we're speaking about, and that's it. And if anybody's going to bring in any ideologies that are going to counter anybody else's beliefs, well, that's where it stops. It's just not happening. It's not happening. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. So that's it, guys. Remember, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, and tell me what you think. Go follow me in the free speech platforms. The links are in the description. If you want to buy me a coffee, the buy me a coffee link is there. Thank you to everybody that has bought me a coffee. I appreciate that. Sure. And peace.